unlike any other. I think this was probably even more of a telenovela than the Kawhi Leonard story. Remember the Kawhi Leonard story? It was he was out, then he was back in. I mean, this is to me is the same situation that I'm noticing when it comes to, um, I would say the 76ers, but now Brooklyn Nets, is that Ben Simmons is to undergo back surgery and expected to be ready for training camp. So Ben Simmons will undergo back surgery on Thursday and will be required to miss 3 to 4 months of rehabilitation. And then Simmons is expected, to join them during training camp. He'll undergo a discectomy procedure to address the pain located in a herniated disc in his lower back. Obviously, he took an injection back in the day. The decision to go under the surgery was reached after a consultation with multiple back specialists, the Brooklyn Nets said. Simmons has made multiple attempts to return to the NBA action following his trade in February. And we all know that Simmons signed a deal. We don't really care about what deal he signed. More than ever. When it comes to Ben Simmons, I've stated on this channel, I think that there was times where I think Ben Simmons could have played. I think Ben Simmons could have been out there, but I think mentally he's just not ready. And we can clearly see that, I think the mental health stuff is starting to affect him a lot, right? We're starting to see him now get in this situation where he's, getting back injuries. From stress. I think the stress of not being able to play, from Adrian Wojnarowski saying he is definitely playing in Game 4 to he's probably playing in Game 4, barring any setbacks. And as soon as it was 3-0, then Adrian Wojnarowski says, all right, now he's not playing. And to me, it was like, I never believed that Ben Simmons was going to play this year. And it's because of the fact that I think mentally he's just not there at the current moment. And, when it comes to getting a back injury like a herniated disc, it can happen anytime, anywhere. You can get it from sleeping, you can get it from coughing, you can get it in the most weird way possible. And that's the problem I think that happened with Ben Simmons, is that I think something just happened. Maybe he was playing video games, maybe he was just thinking about oh shoot, they expect me to play in Game 4, what do I do? And we can clearly see that the back injury is starting to affect him. But I think the back injury really just stems from the fact that he has been dealing with some sort of anxiety, some sort of mental health situation. And again, I do think that there is times where Ben Simmons has lost benefit of the doubt when it comes to both of those things. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Ben Simmons, I think that he really needs to decide if he wants to be a hooper, in terms of, does he want to play for the love of the game and win a championship, or is he fine and content with the way he is? I've previously brought up his scouting report from back in the day, back in 2016, from one of the Draft Express guys, and they kind of say it best. He just feels like he knows better than you, and he feels like he doesn't need any coaching from anybody. He's just gonna play his game. He doesn't think that. He doesn't want to say, if you tell him, hey, man, you should probably shoot the ball or work on your shooting, he's not going to listen to you. He'll probably listen to maybe his closest friends and maybe his closest acquaintance. Maybe his dad's part of that. I'm not sure who's part of his entourage, or, part of his group. But at the end of the day, I think what I would say more so about Ben Simmons is that I think he needs to decide this year what his interests are, right? Again, I think it's not fair for him to ask for that $20 million when he would not see a specialist for his mental health, when the 76ers offered that. And again, I'm sure the 76ers offered him whatever service he wanted. I don't think it was oh, you need to see our team doctors. I'm sure the team doctors will be involved in the process. But at the end of the day, I think the 76ers gave him all the tools to really focus on the mental health aspect, to focus on his back, to focus on this stuff. And at the end of the day, I think what really frustrates me the most about this whole thing is that Ben Simmons has not been clear with himself and with the fans and with the media. Again, he doesn't owe it to the fans anything, right? He doesn't owe it to me. He doesn't owe it to anybody that's out there. The one thing I think he does owe it to is the behavior that I'm seeing off the court. And again, the behavior off the court more so is maybe not even the outfits, right? Forget about the outfits, right? He's talking about standing out, talking about, oh, I'm going to be playing in Game 4, and then end up not playing in that game. And that just kind of goes to show you kind of the mentality of where Ben Simmons is at. It's about him. It's about him. It's never about the team. And that's the problem, I think, with the biggest issue, I feel like, with the Brooklyn Nets at the current moment is that it's KD, it's Kyrie, it's Ben Simmons, and it's never about the Brooklyn Nets themselves. And that to me is the biggest problem that I have with, I would say, the team at the current moment is that it's not a collective unit. Like I feel like the Grizzlies, collective unit, even though John Morant went off, collective unit. Same thing with the Golden State Warriors. It's Steph Curry going off, it's Draymond Green doing his thing, it's Klay Thompson doing his thing. It's but it's the team. You never hear Steph Curry just be like, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing his thing. Like, yeah, he has a TV show, he has the thing that he does with Aisha, but he's really focused on the team. Like, you don't hear distractions. Whereas I feel like with some of these players, especially from the Brooklyn Nets, especially from the Lakers, is that it's always a distraction from the bigger picture. And that's the reason why I feel like teams like the Spurs, why the Celtics have been playing so much better, why the Bucks have won their championship, is because they play together as a collective unit. And when you don't play as a collective unit, that is the frustration that I feel like happens for the Brooklyn Nets and why they don't win games and why they got swept against a team really that I would say is okay, but I would say, we're a really good team. I don't want to discredit my Boston Celtics, but the Brooklyn Nets have one of the top players in the league at the current moment. And the fact that he was, kind of neutralized is crazy to think about. And then you also have Kyrie, who didn't play very well. And then you have a player in Ben Simmons who, again, talked about playing, talked about being out there for his team, wasn't out there. And so that is where I think the Brooklyn Nets need to start focusing on is how do we play as a collective? How do we play as a unit? Because if you don't play as a unit, if you don't play as a collective, then you're wasting everybody's time. You're wasting everything that should be going on for the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets have some great pieces. I like their young players. I like everything about them. Maybe their rebounding could be a little bit better. But at the end of the day, if they don't play as a collective unit, if they're not, again, the reason why they lost is because they didn't score enough points. And, in this league, you have to score enough points. And so my thing is, what can the Brooklyn Nets do? Right now, I feel like they're stuck. And I feel like the trade for both the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers has kind of been null and void. I feel like both teams lost. And again, I talked way before when the trade happened. I said that Philadelphia won the trade because they actually have a healthy player playing compared to the Brooklyn Nets with Ben Simmons, who's not playing. And so I think that's the problem that I'm noticing with both of these teams. You have a guy in James Harden, again, very self-centered at times. I think he is probably, at least on the court. Maybe off the court, he's a nice guy. He does a lot of things for the community. I'm not going to disagree with that. But on the court, what I notice, what I'm able to watch every day, or at least every time I'm able to watch games, I don't think he has done a good enough job. I mean, his primary scoring ability has been gone. He's more of a facilitator now at this point in his career. And that's kind of sad to see because I think the 76ers were hoping that they would get his scoring. But when you don't take care of your body, when you eat yourself out of places like the Houston Rockets, like I would say the Brooklyn Nets, it kind of goes to show you that you're not really interested or, really about the collective unit. And when you're not about the collective unit, and again, I'm not trying to take away anybody's personality. I'm not trying to take away people's individuality. But what I am trying to say is that why would you not, like when it comes to playing basketball, you have to play as a team. This is why if you want to play single player sports, you should do golf, you should do tennis, you should do, I can't even think of another sport that's just single, boxing, like all those sports. Like if you want to do that, UFC, martial arts, it's just kind of sad to see. What's up, Tar Heel Nation? Well, actually, you said it again, man. And you're right. He is aging like Iverson, and that's the thing that got Iverson out the league. Iverson, played a different style than most of the people, and when he was in the Nuggets as his kind of final destination before, he went and bounced around and then eventually went back to the 76ers and then ended up, out of the league after, joining the Memphis Grizzlies, is that he was too much about himself. He was too much about the individuality of Allen Iverson. And when you're young and you are so talented, yes, you can basically, you're able to do what you want. in this league, if your talent diminishes each and every year, then what happens? You lose, I would say, the ability to have any sway in the organization, any sway in how you play, any sway in your playing time. And that's something that I think James Harden has to realize as he's aged accordingly. And that's something Ben Simmons is going to have to learn pretty quick because, again, he's going to be 26 years old coming next year. I'm not saying that he's going to be out the league or anything like that, but eventually, if he is playing with the same mindset as a James Harden, with the same mindset as the draft experts have said years ago in 2016, he will be out the league. Because, again, he has a good job. He was a great defender. He is someone that, can handle the rock in open space. In a fast break, he's able to, do Magic Johnson-esque type of things, try to pass the ball and things like that. But in the half-court setting, he's a liability because he hasn't worked on his game. And in this league, you have to shoot. When you're open, you shoot. I know Draymond Green is the exception when we see him play for against the Memphis Grizzlies. He's not taking that three-point shot. But what really won them the championship, and we'll see if they're able to, compete for a championship this year. What won them the championship the year that they won all those years was that Draymond Green actually shot the ball. He actually went and took some shots. He actually did some things. And that, to me, was the biggest reason as to why I think the Golden State Warriors won their series and won their games. I think that, Draymond Green does excellent stuff on defense. I think he's probably one of the best help defenders in the league. And he's also one of the best defenders, I would say, in the league as well. Definitely Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But at the same time, it's one of those things you look at it and, he does so many other different things that I just feel like Ben Simmons doesn't do. Ben Simmons isn't going to talk like Draymond Green. Ben Simmons isn't going to be that help side defender that they need for the Brooklyn Nets. And again, that is something that the Brooklyn Nets need to think about as they decide what they're going to do with Ben Simmons moving forward. They need to make it very clear, and they need to tell him straight on, straight up, hey, this is what we have to do. We need you to be on this program. We need you to be shooting the ball. We need you to at least be attempting shots. And if you are attempting shots, that's what's going to win us games. That's what's going to win us championships instead of, kind of wondering what they're going to do next. But again, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Ben Simmons news? Back injury, out for 3 to 4 months. It will be back for training camp. Will he be an X factor for the Brooklyn Nets next year? Let me know in the comment section down below.